SA2RM, Dr. Svathan Pillai, distinguished invitees from elite Korean industries and institutions, and the captains of Indian industries who have participated so far and will continue to participate in the endeavors of DRDO, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, good afternoon to all of you from DRDO. It's indeed a privilege and pleasure to be here with you and give an exposure on DRDO's strengths and the capabilities in missile technologies. I would rather to have three parts. The first part actually talks about a bit on the products what DRDO has been doing and continue to do. And the second part will talk about the core strength and the technologies in the missile domain, missile complex as we call it. The third part will talk about some of the best facilities what we have in DRDO in India. And finally, I'll give a little bit of a thought process on how to harness or how to collaborate on certain issues or certain problems what we have seen in Korean industry, in DRDO, and in Indian industry. As he was telling, the missile cluster, what we call a missile complex, is actually a combination of half a dozen labs. Each one has got its own strength from what we call in a abbreviated form DRDL, ASL, RCI, TBR, and ITAR. And for instance, RCI exclusively deals with the avionics systems, navigation, seekers, guidance and control actuation systems, and so forth. Whereas some of the re-entry related things are done in ASL, and DRDL looks after basically on the tactical system development and design and development and leading to the production. And the technology domain in all this field includes the propulsion, the aero design, and the avionics, of course, test and evaluation expertise. And the weapon system complex today has got one of the best combination of all these three attributes within DRDO. Broadly, we'll have two different broadly, we have in the missile complex two broad category of some missile systems. Can you go to the next one, please? Next one, please. Which is basically tactical in nature, which is done by a specific lab. Of course, the requirements and types and other capabilities are driven by our own threat perception and the technology base. In the tactical missile field, we have a wide range of systems on different platforms. For instance, to just give you a glimpse of the thing that we have anti-tank missile systems, we have surface-to-air missile systems, we have air-to-air missile systems of all categories, and so on. I'll just give only a glimpse of what. Can you go to next one, please? For instance, some of you must have seen the Akash SAM air defense system with the capability to engage targets up to 20-25 kilometers and has a versatile weapon system. The capability is quite well proven. On the short-range capability, we have an anti-tank missile system configured on the helicopters too, which can go to the range of nearly about 7 kilometers. And you have the capability for a shallow firing from the helicopters, and is a good weapon system, airborne weapon system in the battlefield conditions. Yet there is another one, Astra, which has air-to-air missiles, an air-to-air missile, with a capability of up to 100 kilometers beyond visual range missile, with a state-of-the-art systems, and it can up to engage the target up to 9G, and it can pull more than 30G acceleration, which is quite fast, and the end game is quite effective. DRDO has a very strong design capability in the long-range missile system too. We have a wide range of long-range missile system, as you were aware, dealing with right from 350 kilometers all the way up to 5,000 kilometers, all being done in DRDO in the missile complex. and we have all the basic ingredients available within the country. Next, please. There is a future program what we have, which is currently giving a lot of stress. One is that anti-ballistic missile air defense systems, which we have a capability to have a two-layered interception of incoming ballistic missiles, and up to the altitude of 145 kilometers. This program has been going on now, and we have lots of technology lined up in this particular area. One of the best, one of the futuristic technology what we see today will be the hypersonic capability. Can you go to the next, please? Wherein we have a range of technologies demonstrated on the ground, and we will be putting together that one. That is the hypersonic technology leading to the HSTD, but the hypersonic demonstrator vehicle. Main thrust has been here the scramjet engine and the thermal system management. Both will be demonstrating shortly in this particular area. Next, please. Next, I come to what are the core technologies available in order to achieve some of the things what I talked about and much more. We have a slew of, can you go next, please? We have a slew of technologies what anyway nobody expects, everybody expects. The system design, the propulsion systems, particularly rocket propulsion systems, missile aerodynamics, control actuation system, composite technology, aerospace mechanisms, and so on. And one of the best team in the system engineers been working in this particular area all through. The backbone of our design has been a well integrated interdisciplinary approach. I just flash in some other things. Can you go to next, please? Next, please. We have very well proven interactive aerodynamic simulation for the CFD, which takes care of all the way up to the characterization as well as the turbulence prediction. And you have got together with the best of the machines, we have a 64 node machine which can work much faster, and is to get that one. One of the highlights of this particular area is that you've got a good flow solvers which has been developed in-house within the DRDO kind of thing. Next, please. And in the rocket propulsion area, which is the backbone of any of these missile systems, you have a wide range of systems, right from the solid propellant rocket motors, ramjet rocket motors, liquid propellant rocket motors, and of course we are doing the scramjet testing for now, and which will mature over a period of time. And that ranges from, in fact, some of the propulsion technologies of ICBM class, apart from what we need for the smaller missiles too. Next, please. In the area of composite technology, of course, no missile can fly without the composite technology and process expertise. And we have one of the best composite technology developed, right from the filament winding technique for the structures such as composite rocket motor casing, to the structural elements, to the radome, and so on. We have a very well established product evaluation procedure in terms of non-destructive testing, testing evaluation, and the standards to accept this kind of product, which are specific to our specific applications. And we are one of the leading things in that. Another major areas in which we have, next please, we have a good strength is in the avionics area. The avionics in the navigation, guidance, and control systems, which forms a part of the overall system configuration. And in fact, we have a dedicated lab which works on it all through. And we develop a range of products from mission computers to high-performance inertial navigation systems to seekers and sensors. Some of them, can you just flash it? Some of them are given. Next, please. This is what mission computer we have up to the power piece up to 300 megahertz, which is actually flying these days in our missiles. Next, please. And the ground system, there's a large team working on the missile carriers, launching mechanism, fire control systems, and all kinds of missiles and all kinds of categories. Right from the anti-tank missile all the way up to the ballistic missiles. And we can have launches today up to hundreds of capacity, all the way to normal salvo launching requirements. Next, please. Facilities. In the missile complex, we have got facilities under three different categories. One is what is required for the design and development. Other one is for qualification. And third one is for validation and verification. I'll just quickly go through that. Next, please. As I say, we have a good digital marker facility right from the design stage onwards, which gives a good input on the various aspects of the design, how to incorporate that and how to modify that and product development subsequently. We have very good team working at it. Next, please. And in the test facilities, one of the star has been the hypersonic shock tunnel facility. We can give you up to mark number 10 with the shortest 1 millisecond the operating time. Gives a basic scientific research as well as the hypersonic vehicle design inputs. For instance, all the re-entry vehicles being tested in this particular test facility for all cases. Next, please. And of course, we have a slew of all the structural test facilities and then the ground resonant test facilities and combined pressure and then bending test facility, highest heat transfer simulation facility, and so on. They're quite a long list of things what we have. Next, please. Environmental test facility for the reliability of the system, the qualification and the validation of the products what we make. We have got a elaborate environmental test facility which has been operating for a very, very long time. Next, please. Other one is what we call the fly on the ground. We have the whole integrated software and hardware. We just connecting them on the ground to see all the systems function properly, right from the hardware and software compatibility and its performance and evaluation. Next, please. Thirdly, I was just rushing through, sorry. Thirdly, I want to just bring out few points. Today, DRDO has got 3-4 different models which we are working at it. One is that the indigenous model, which is purely what we design, develop, produce, and give it. The second one was the developmental model with a joint venture. We have a joint venture with other countries, which are, we do something, they do something, and then we co-produce the system and then give it to the user. The third category is actually the technical consultancy. We just have only consultancy. We don't talk about any product or any hardware part of it. And the fourth one is co-production joint venture model, wherein we get the product and we also make it and then gets indigenized over a period of time. These 4 models is actually working in DRDO, in industries and in the country. Why I'm saying that is probably we look at it sometime later in the day that one of those models can be selected or we can have our own model between India and Korea in this particular specific area. What I suggested was some collaboration options, what we can think of, the core development of systems, technology development niche areas which we need to identify together, exchange of professionals at various levels like consultancy and then working together at different areas of interest, could be academic interaction too, and the hiring of the test facility, some other test facility what we have, some other test facility what you may have, can be shared. In my view, the specific areas of collaboration could be, after my first visit to this country and looking around of certain places, it could be optics, components and the device manufacturing facilities. A future inertial measurement systems can be a part of our long-term strategy. And MEMS-based sensor development, which is coming a big way in all realm of life, is one of the things what we can think of. So these are a few thoughts what I thought put together, which we can discuss subsequently during the meeting. And I thank you again for the opportunity and wish you all the best. Thank you.